What did they tell us? I see they got some new monitors, some computers. Walk me through it.
Yeah, so this wasn't the real big event. I think that people are really looking forward, which is going to be the game-changing AR, VR stuff. That is expected later this year when they can have in-person events, so people can actually experience that. And I think that will be a big deal. But today's event was a little bit more low-key. Nonetheless, I think Apple is doubling down on where they're very strong at right now, which is the iPad, and bringing back that new Imac using their own processor technology, which I commend them for. They're doing a really nice job with it. So you have the new iMac 24, powered by the M1 processor. It's super thin. It's very sporty looking, comes in 7 new colors. I think it's going to do very well for the education markets, as well as people who want a really nice computer for the home. Not in love with the chin design, but I think a lot of people will look past that. It is a pretty much interesting technology that they're using here, especially for the display. The web camera looks to be finally using the same kind of technology they use in the iPhone. We all know how important web cameras are now in 2021. So that's going to be, I think, a really good selling point. And the price is actually pretty fair, starting at, I believe, $12.99 for that. Now,
yeah, for that iPad, the new iPad Pro and the M1 chip, what's that price point going to be, and what's the difference in terms of the experience?
So the iPad Pro 12.9 is the real surprise here, although it matches the rumors. It has mini LED for the display, which is a very hard technology to get down at this level. Basically, it matches their XDR Pro display. So you're going to get 1,000 nits of brightness, very good HDR and contrast for graphic professionals. This is awesome. It does go up by $100 though, so that's important. So pricing starts at $1,099 for that, and it goes up by $150 if you want the new 5G option, which again, 5G is still very new here, but for a lot of people adopting this technology, it's going to be a game changer for them when they're working on the go. They did refresh a smaller iPad as well. So that one is going to be not as interesting, but still $799 price point. But, the iPad Pro is pretty much unparalleled. There really is no competition here for Apple when it comes to tablets like this. Even though they're trying to turn it more into a standard computer, they're still doing very well here. And, Android is nowhere near this. So this technology is pretty impressive.
Now, how does it compete with the Surface and Microsoft's suite of products that have that kind of hybrid functionality?
Yeah, so Apple still, I think, wins in terms of having better displays. Microsoft and the Surface Pro, we are expecting a Surface Pro 8 later this year, which we do expect to be a major revision to that. That is still a business professional type device for people who really need a portable PC on the go and a secondary tablet experience. It's very different from an iPad. I've had iPads in the past. They're amazing hardware. I've never found a way to integrate it into my life, mostly because I can't use it in my lap with that magic keyboard. For other people, though, they're very good devices. So I still think there's a discrepancy between those two, even though they are coming closer and closer to each other.
Let's talk about the podcast business and the enormous growth in that market. Apple obviously wants to retain its presence in a very competitive market with Spotify, and they're going to have a paid service, Apple Podcast subscriptions. What's that going to look like? How does it change the podcast listening experience for Apple users?
Yeah, so Apple, they're doubling down here also on subscriptions, and it's turned out to work out very well for them, as well as other companies in this area. We all rejected this idea. We wanted subs for everything, and turns out we do. So this idea that they're moving to this for subscriptions for their podcast app is not surprising. I think it will do very well, but you did bring up Spotify. That is the biggest competitor here. Spotify has been going around getting a lot of exclusives for podcasts, and they do have a lot of lock-in already. That said, if there's anyone that's going to challenge Spotify, Apple, I believe, does have the ability and capability to do it, especially since you get an iPhone. You're already tied into that service. It's very easy to buy into it. So we'll see how well it does and if it takes a bite out of Spotify. But I do believe they do have a chance here to at least make a dent.
Okay. Now, in terms of what this does for Apple's general narrative, its trajectory as a company, walk me through the way you see that, Daniel, over the next year. Should there be any expectations like groundbreaking, game-changing technology for Apple, or is this continuing to be more just tweaking the existing product and service offering?
Yeah, I think Apple is basically doing exactly that, right? They already have existing lines that are doing very well. The Apple Watch, still the king in its field. You have the iPad, of course, which is unparalleled. They do have this M1 chip now, which I think will do well for them as far as their own customers. I'm not convinced yet it's going to necessarily damage the PC and Windows industry, but that is something we'll have to watch. As I mentioned at the beginning here, AR, VR, that's going to be the big story. I'm not expecting this to be the revolutionary, we're walking around with glasses in public and seeing things in virtual and augmented reality. That's coming much, much later. The technology just isn't here. But later this year, we could see them unveil an actual AR, VR experience for the home. We'll see how it does. VR has still been very niche right now, focusing on gaming. It really hasn't made its way into mainstream. If there's one company that may be able to do that, it could be Apple, but we have to wait and to see exactly what their technology is and how it differs from current offerings from Facebook like Oculus.